Hi, this is Jody, and you're on Coast to Coast Live, and this is Cooking with Jody. Tonight, I'm gonna cook some pork chops, and I'm making mushroom risotto, which is rice. We're gonna make some juicy pork chops tonight. We're gonna go ahead and start on those pork chops. So what we're gonna do with those first, so with the pork chops, to get them juicy, you you want to start out by searing them, and then you put them in the oven for the rest of the time, uh, and then that's how they stay juicy. So I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I've had my pork chops sitting out for about 20 minutes to get them room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and start those first. So we can get those in the oven, and then we'll do the rice. So I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil and get that warmed up for the pork chops. And these are actually pork steaks, but see, they're kind of big. They're pork steaks, but that's what I had. So I'm just going with what I had tonight. And sorry if you guys missed me. I moved over to back from Coquille to Coos Bay, and I'm loving life over here with my boyfriend. So anyway, so we're just going to season these just a little bit, just a little bit of salt and pepper. And I have sea salt. I don't actually like iodized salt. It's kind of bad for you anyways. So this is sea salt. Good stuff. So I'm going to turn these over. I don't want to use my fingers. I'm going to use a fork. So a little pepper. Whoops, that's a lot of pepper. And a little salt. Oh, I'm going to actually add a little bit of garlic salt. I actually like using garlic powder better. I love using garlic powder and garlic or onion powder and garlic powder is the greatest stuff. It's better than the salt, if you ask me. But tonight, that's what I got. I just use a little bit of it because it's the garlic salt. So I'm going to season those up. Got my pan warming up to sear them. And I'm going to be a little bit different. And I got me some breadcrumbs. I love using breadcrumbs for stuff, especially like pork chops. Fry them up. I put I don't know, maybe like these 2 big pork chops, probably 2 cups of these breadcrumbs. And you find the breadcrumbs on the baking aisle of all places over by the seasonings. And I love them. And this one's Italian style breadcrumbs. You can use them for lots of different things. You can put them in meatloaf. Put it in meatloaf. So I'm going to go ahead and coat these because I want to make them extra crispy. So, but juicy. We got to do juicy tonight. Or my one friend doesn't like this word, but moist. They're going to be moist. Okay. So I just have them on this pan because they were resting in the kitchen. So I'm just tossing them in these breadcrumbs before I sear them. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and sear these for about 3 minutes. I'm going to do 3 minutes on each side. Whoa, I almost put the oil out there. So I've never actually tried this, so hopefully they turn out. So here's for both of us. So now I'm just going to let those sear for like 3 minutes on each side. And then I'll throw them in the oven for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. We'll see. 15 minutes. So I'm not really timing it, am I? So 3 minutes on each side. let's see how we're doing here. Okay. And turn it up a little bit because we're searing them. So then see, I use olive oil, and olive oil is really good for cooking. And it's good for you. So extra virgin olive oil. So here are these babies. So and then I'm gonna make some risotto, and you know, I wish I could. Risotto is rice. Okay, so it actually asks for like a specific kind of rice, but it's white rice. So you use like just white rice, and whoa, and I love risotto. You can or risotto, whatever. I love it because you add mushrooms and onions and some garlic and fresh stuff, fresh herbs. You got fresh herbs. Tonight I'm just gonna do mushrooms and onions and garlic. And of course, we put it in some wine and make a wine sauce. So gotta have the wine. You know, put a little in the food, a little in there. You know, that's how I roll. All right, it's been long enough. We're gonna turn them over. Steer these babies. Okay. And I keep checking in case there's any comments. No comments yet. Anyway, let those babies cook. So the ideal way to do these pork chops is if you have a iron skillet, you know, a black iron skillet. Those can be put in the oven too, and it's perfect because you could sear your steak or pork chops, whatever you're making. You could sear your pork chops in the iron skillet and just leave them in that pan and put it in the oven and cook them that way. But I don't have an iron skillet right now. I used to have one. You know, Grandma, she had one. So tonight I'm just gonna put it in a pan. I think I'm gonna put this hot olive oil from the pan that I was cooking and searing these in into this pan that I'm putting in the oven. It's just the pan. You know, nothing special. But I'm gonna go ahead. It looks pretty good. See? It looks pretty good and seared. Oh, you can see that. Damn it. Here, let me fix that. But anyway, there we go. They look really good. So I'm going to put those in the oven now and let them finish cooking in the oven. And that is supposedly how you get juicy pork chops. But I guess we'll find out if they're juicy. Okay, so the oven's already preheated to 400 degrees. So I'm going to put those in there. We'll check them after about 10 minutes. So I'm done with this for now. Stick that over there. So now I'm going to go ahead and start on my risotto. And I'm going to turn that down. Wait a second. And, oh, shut up, pan. So then this is how I like to do a lot of stuff. I will start like with butter and onion and all that stuff. Just start out. But anyways, so I'm going to chop up an onion, you know, a medium-sized onion. Could be any kind of onion you want. White, yellow. I'm using a yellow onion. And can't get the peel off. And yes, I washed my hands before I started this. I promise. So we're going to use an onion. I get all this other stuff off of here. Whoops. All right. A good cook doesn't have to be, you know, I'm a messy cook, but a good cook, but I'm messy. So go ahead and chop an onion up pretty good. And I'm not the greatest chopper, but I like to get them, when I'm chopping onions and stuff, I like to chop it real fine. Sorry. But, let's see, it's all over the place. Sometimes I already have stuff already done up and chopped and ready to go, but I have a feeling tonight, you know, it's not going to take me as long to, I didn't set my timer for my pork chops, but guess what? I'm going to see, okay, so they've been in there about 5 minutes, so we'll just say that, so. And I don't think I really need to use this whole onion. That's kind of a big onion because I'm going to chop this up pretty fine. Like really fine. They're being really loud outside tonight. Hold on. Super loud, annoying chick next door. Okay. Be careful. My one roommate might be watching it and he's out there hanging out with them. So he might be coming here to kick my ass in a minute. Alright. So it's pretty fine. So I'm going to put that pan on the burner. I haven't yet because I don't want to burn the oil. So again, we're going to use a little bit of olive oil. So you figure about a couple tablespoons of olive oil. About. Let that heat up a little bit. So I'm going to use about medium heat on the skillet to start with the onions. And then I've got some garlic here. I'm going to do a couple cloves of garlic, and you know, a couple cloves of garlic is like this. Whoops. Like 2 of these. See? And then we're going to, I love using fresh stuff. So do some fresh garlic here. Yum, yum. I love garlic. Okay. Yeah, that's my boyfriend. But and so. What an awesome cut. And it can be a pain in the ass to, whoops, sorry, that's twice now. A pain in the butt to peel garlic, but what I usually do is I cut through the peel like this. I just cut it. And then that pretty much opens it up and you can take the peel right off. And I don't mind chopping up garlic. It's, you know, can be tedious, I guess. And that one's not really that good. All right. As I get all the paper off of these. That garlic's a little well done, so we're going to cut off the bad spot. A little too brown. Okay, so we got all this garlic, and I'm going to go ahead and chop that. But first, I'm going to put this onion in the pan, since the oil's probably pretty hot. I put more than 2 tablespoons, but so I'm going to put this in the olive oil. Just the onions first. let them go since the oil's nice and hot. You get the oil nice and hot first. Then, whoa. Alright, so then we're gonna do this. Okay. I'll chop up these garlic. Don't want that in there. And some garlic peel. We don't want garlic peel in our stuff. Although it probably cooked down, I guess. Okay. So again, you just chop it up as fine as you can get it. Try to do the best I can here. Alright, so that's pretty good. Some more paper. Okay. So that's already all done up here. The way I have things set up tonight, it's easier just to grab a pan after I flip these onions around for a minute. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that garlic right to the pan here. So I'm going to cook the onions and garlic here until the onions are kind of yellowish. You know, you can tell when you're, I'm turning the heat up too a little bit. Pork chops are looking pretty good. They've been in there almost 10 minutes, and I'll check them. So we'll let these cook down a little bit. So then I'll let the onions cook down a little bit, and then we're going to add, it says to add like a pound of mushrooms. Wow, this one's not even cut. Look at that. These are all sliced cut mushrooms except for one is not sliced. Look at that. That's funny. So anyways, I'll slice that puppy up because we want sliced mushrooms in there, not whole ones. All right, so as soon as those onions cook down a little bit, I'm going to add these mushrooms. And you know, I was thinking today it would have been so great to go out and pick some, because around here in Coos Bay, Oregon coast, we can go out and pick our own mushrooms. Of course, you have to know what you're doing. And well, I know, you know, a few mushrooms you can pick, and it would have been good for tonight. But maybe when the sun comes out and it gets dry around. Oh. And all right, so it's cooking down pretty good. Let it go a little tiny bit longer. Woo! You can smell that garlic. Woo! I got a little taste of my wine. See, make sure it's good enough to go in the food. You know, it might taste like crap. Oh, there's my wine glass. Oh well, we use this one. I like getting these little containers of wine for cooking because you don't need a lot for cooking. I mean, I'm only going to use maybe, well, I'm using a half a cup to a cup out of this. And I'm not even going to use the whole thing. It's like, so, I mean, might as well just get this instead of a bottle, unless you want to drink more wine than that. But this one is Pinot. Pinot is really good for cooking too. Pinot and red wines are really good for cooking as well. I wouldn't, like I said before, I would not use Chardonnay for cooking. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I wouldn't use Chardonnay because it's not as strong as a flavor as other wines. Like the red wines and the Pinot are really strong flavored. So when you put it in food, the flavor comes out in the food. And that's what makes it taste so good. So this is cooked down pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and add the mushrooms to it. And this is all for my risotto, which is white rice basically. But risotto is good. I mean, it's not just rice, man. You can add all kinds of things to it, but like fresh herbs like thyme and rosemary, but mostly I guess they use thyme and bay leaves. But I'm just doing it my way tonight, and I'm going to do mushrooms and garlic and onions. We let that cook down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add like 2 tablespoons of butter. Well, maybe 3. I like butter. So I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of butter, which is not much. I mean, see, this is like 3 tablespoons of butter. It's not a lot of butter. So, and I'm going to put that in there with the mushrooms and the onions. Let that cook down. And I think it's been like 10 minutes for the pork chops. So I'm going to take them out and check them. Something to put them on here. Not to put them on, but oh well. I just don't want to put them on the counter and burn the counter. Oh. They look pretty good. I don't know what I did with my fork. Probably on the table. Grab another fork. I gotta turn these babies over and check them out. Oh yeah, they're looking pretty juicy. Yeah, they look like they're pretty much done. But what I'm gonna do is turn off the oven since we're still cooking risotto. Turn off the oven and keep them in the warm oven for just a little bit. But look how good those look. And they look juicy, don't they? They look really juicy. Good. So I'm going to put them in here and turn off the oven. So I only put those in there for like 10 minutes. So we seared them for 3 minutes on each side, and then we put them in the oven on 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. So it doesn't even take that long. But, all right, so this is looking pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm not exactly doing it the way that they say to do the risotto, but I do things my way. So anyways, it calls for about 8 cups of chicken broth or vegetable broth. So this here is like 4 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and use this whole 4 cups, and I'm just going to pour it in with my rice. I mean, not my rice. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in with my vegetables, with the onion and the mushrooms and stuff. So I'm going to pour this in. Just remember, we got to cook rice in this. So, okay. Yeah, maybe I'm not going to use the whole 4 cups. I just about used 4 cups. 4 cups of chicken broth. If you have a bigger container, I guess, a bigger thing to cook it in. But I'm only going to put in like a half a cup of wine. So, put in half a cup of wine here. And I'm going to go ahead and add the rice. And you can do your research and see what kind of rice you want to use for your risotto, but it's basically white rice. What I'm using tonight is some long grain white rice, but you know. And so we're only going to add, sorry about that, that's a loud noise. Gonna add 2 cups of white rice to the mixture here. So the rice will cook up with all the liquid in here. The liquid will get absorbed into the rice and it'll get cooked. Woo! And I'm spilling it. And I'm going to go ahead and also add okay, so I'm going to also go ahead and add some more butter. I'm going to add about 3 more tablespoons of butter because I like butter. So I'm going to add more. And apparently I need to use a bigger pan next time, but ow, that's hot. But that's okay. It'll work. It'll cook down once it starts boiling. Really full. But thing is, once it starts boiling, it'll cook down. All right. Well, I'm curious to see how. While we're waiting on that now, I'm curious to see how the pork chops turned out. But first off, kind of a mess over here. So I'm going to take the pork chops out and see. I'm going to cut one open and see what it looks like. They look really nice and juicy. Hopefully they're done. If they're not done, it's not a big deal. I'll just stick them back in the warm oven. But I just don't want to overcook them. That's why I turn off the heat. And oh yeah, these are about perfect. I don't really see pink in them. But let me show you what they look wonderful. I showed it to you already, but I mean, just look at those. And they look juicy. Look at them. They look really juicy. So they're they're done. So I'm going to put them back in the warm oven. I turned the oven off because if you don't want to cook them no more, because if you cook them more, then they're not going to be juicy. Now we're just waiting for this to boil. Else if I turn it up, the pan is really full. So once the risotto gets cooking here, I will show you the risotto. But what basically, and then I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese too to the risotto. But it's really easy to make, like I said. So you take like a small to medium onion, any kind you want, white, yellow, sweet, not sweet. Chop it up. Do like a couple cloves of garlic, maybe more if you want. If you like garlic like I do, then add more garlic. You know, however much you want. It can turn out really garlicky. So I used the onion and a couple cloves of garlic. It's easy to remember if you just start, even just put the olive oil in and then just put your veggies in first. Cook up your veggies. Add some butter. And then you want to add, after the veggies, you want to add like the chicken broth and your rice. And then you let it cook down. And then you would add your wine. So you get enough so you can have a glass of wine too. All right, so this is about coming to a boil. Oh yeah, lesson learned. Next time I'll use a bigger pan because this is like, ooh, really. And anyways, so we're just waiting for that to boil. It's almost boiling, dang it. Hopefully it doesn't boil over. Alright. Okay, shh. Oh boy. Woo, I'm gonna start fire. Oh boy, I started the fire. It's all good. Okay, it's dying. Like I said, once it starts boiling, the liquid will go down. I got a little too much liquid in the pan for what I'm cooking. But it'll boil down. Not worried. So I've got some perfectly cooked pork chops, so. Alright, so crap. I think I'm going to take a tiny bit of liquid out of here. That's really full. Easiest way to do that, I think I'll just do this. Wait. Alright. So I can always add this liquid back in there if I need it. Yeah. Phew, it's getting hot in here. Alright. So we're gonna let that boil a little bit. I'll turn it down so I turned it up really high to get it boiling. So then I turned it back down to like medium high and let it boil for a little bit. But hopefully it won't take that long. Because I want to show you the finished project on the risotto as well. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Risotto, risotto. And I know I get a little scatterbrained, but it's pretty easy. Like to do the rice. And you just remember, like when you do soup, you start with veggies and butter and like that. That's called a roux. So, and you put a little flour in with that butter and stuff. I mean, we didn't do that this time, but because we're not doing that with risotto. But I'm just saying that's how you thicken stuff. Is you like when you're doing a soup and you want to do veggies with it, you start out with the veggies first, and you put butter in there, and you throw a little flour in with it too, and cook it up, and then you put your liquid in, and that thickens it up. And I'm not just saying that because I don't know what I'm talking about, because I do know what I'm talking about. Just saying. So let me go check and see how this risotto is doing. Oh yeah, it's cooking. Uh, but I do recommend. I don't think it really matters what you use to cook your rice and stuff in, but you want to make sure it's something nonstick because it's a pain in the butt if you use a pan that your rice sticks to. So I have this nonstick pan, and it's not sticking at all. I mean, that's good because that's just not good. But rice doesn't usually take that long to cook. And the secret about cooking rice is like, okay, you use basically 2 cups of rice and 1 cup of water. But in this case, we use chicken broth for the liquid and wine for the liquid. And it's more than a cup with the chicken broth and stuff. But what you're doing is also you have mushrooms in there, you have to remember, and onions and stuff. And all that liquid's getting absorbed into all of that. So anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense, but we're cooking this down. Cooking the rice is what we're basically doing now. It's just cooking the rice. It basically only takes about 10 minutes to cook rice. 10 to 20. 10 to 20 minutes. I don't know how long I've been cooking it now, but I'm just going to cook it until most of the liquid is absorbed. And actually, I'm going to add a little bit more of this back in here. So it's cooked down a little bit. And with risotto, I don't want it to be really dry. You want it to be moist. I'm going to say it again, moist. So I want that liquid in there to make kind of a, and I'm trying to find a lid here to go on top of this because, pretty soon I'm just going to turn this down and put the lid on it. That one kind of worked. So I'll tell you the secret, what I do when I'm cooking rice, and it usually seems to work out pretty well. So I let it like boil up and for a while, and once it's going really well and it starts to absorb the liquid a little bit, I'll go ahead and turn it like way down the burner to like low and put the lid on it and just let it finish. And a lot of times I'll even just turn the burner off all the way and leave the lid on it, and the hot and the steam and everything in there is going to cook it the rest of the way. And that way it turns out perfect. I mean, it's not on the high heat and it's not going to overcook your rice and veggies and all that. So just get it going really nice and hot and steamy. Oh yeah, it's getting cooked down there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it down and put the lid on it. And I kind of put my lid on there like, uh-oh. What's that mean? Uh-oh. I don't know what that noise is. But anyways, okay, so as soon as the rice looks like it's pretty much done, I'm going to show it to you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and add this Parmesan cheese to it. You can add like about a cup of Parmesan cheese, because Parmesan is the bomb with risotto. So I'm going to go ahead and add cheese to it. I almost forgot. Since we're going to just let it steam. And I'm going to put this rice on here, cheese on here, and let it steam the rest of the way. So, and it should turn out just perfect. I'll go ahead and stir it. I had way too much liquid in there for this little pan. So I'm going to go ahead and let it boil back up and then turn it back down, and it should be good to go. So one sec here. And boil it up. There it goes. Nice and boiling up and steamy hot. Put the lid on. Turn it off. Okay. So we'll wait about 5 minutes and then I'll show it to you. We'll see, maybe less than 5 minutes, but just to give you an idea. I mean, it'll be done here in about 5 minutes, but so anyways, it's pretty easy to make. Okay, I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna go ahead and take my pork chops out because I don't want them to cook anymore. Alright, I'm gonna check these again. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let this go for a few minutes. Enjoy my wine for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put one of my pork chops on a plate and plate it up for you with the rice when it's done. So you can see the finished product here. Let's do this one. And let me find a spoon. Get this risotto out. Okay, so I haven't actually tried it to see if it's done, but it's close enough. But basically 10 to 20 minutes on your rice. You just uh, make sure that the liquid's pretty much well absorbed. And when it's pretty much well absorbed, then it's done. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like. And this pork chop looks very juicy and hopefully done. Oh yeah. So just to let you see, finished product here. Let me make sure I gotta put my glasses on, see if it looks pink. Nope, it does not look pink on the inside. And I will face it toward you so you can see that this pork chop is definitely done. And here we go. So we got mushroom risotto and a nice juicy pork chop to go with it. Whoops, try to get you to see that better. There we go. So nice, see, not pink inside. I cut it open so you can see it's not pink and it's not dry. So there you go. And that's dinner tonight. Juicy pork chops and mushroom risotto. So I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. And if you have any questions, just let me know. You can message me in Facebook Messenger anytime you want. And I can tell you again how to do it. All right. And you've been watching Cooking with Jodi on Coast to Coast Network. I hope you have a good evening. And that's the show.